Shraddhi was being very, very kind there. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today. I'm going to bore you because it's a pretty long talk. But I've been waiting for this moment for a long time, so you have to bear with me. Good evening, Dr. Mohammad Al-Jassar, Secretary General of the National Council for Culture, Arts and Letters, Her Excellency Paramita Tripathi, Ambassador of India, Excellencies Sheikha Altaf Salim Al-Ali Al-Sabah, Sheikha Al-Sabah, Sheikha Swad Al-Sabah. I believe Sheikha Dr. Al-Anud Al-Sabah was supposed to be here, and she was very eager, and I don't know whether she's here in the audience. Mr. Tony Jashanmal, Mr. Dheeraj Oberoi, Mr. Kuldeep Singh Lamba, Mr. Al-Saraf, and all my dear friends and colleagues who are here to support me and my journey as a cultural journalist, writer, and documentarian. Thank you very much. Well, what Sadaka has taught me is patience, a quality I sorely lack. I have waited for this evening for a very long time, and I suspect I may have tested the patience of Dr. Al-Jassar more than once along the way. My apologies, sir, if I've done that. Well, humility is the mark of a true intellectual and gentleman, and Dr. Al-Jassar embodies both. His sagacity and willingness to listen reminds me of the Kuwaitis of yore that Sir Alan Villiers wrote about. Ladies and gentlemen, I am an example of how Kuwait can embrace and expatriate. What I own is a deep passion for learning and my desire to give something meaningful back to this country that has given me so much. Dr. Jassar, you and your wonderful team, Riham, Isra, and everybody else has supported me and helped make this evening possible. I thank you so much, Fahed, Isra, and the entire team of the National Council for Culture, Arts, and Letters. My sincere gratitude also to my ambassador, Her Excellency Paramita Tripathi, a seasoned diplomat who has left a mark wherever she has served. And she is someone who does not see her role through the prism of gender. And I truly admire that. Of course, it helps that she and I were born and raised in the same city, a city that is considered India's intellectual capital. I'm deeply honored by your presence this evening, Excellency. Thank you also to Sheikha Altaf Salim Al-Ali Al-Sabah. I first met Sheikha Altaf, I think, in 2003. I was writing about one of her books. We met at the Beit al-Badr, and I was writing for Arab Times, and the connection was instant. Her work on Sadhu, heritage, and culture has deeply inspired my own journey as a cultural journalist and writer. I'm incredibly honored that you agreed to write the foreword to Sadaka, Sheikha Altaf. I would also like to thank the diplomats who are present here. Over the years, my journey as a storyteller, broadcaster, journalist has brought me in close collaboration with many embassies, cultural organizations, and communities. These relationships have enriched my understanding of how culture connects, how culture works. So with the British and the Australian embassy, is Palan here? Palan Suchak? Oh, there she is, hi. So with the British and the Australian embassies, I had the pleasure of collaborating on what was among Kuwait's earliest podcasts at my Kuwaiti table, alongside my wonderful partners in crime, Dr. Lavinia Davenport and Krisha Derecki and Anis Bakar, who you're going to meet very, very soon. And then there was my association with with Ambassador Lina Mariana of Indonesia is also very long and meaningful, but I don't think she's been able to make it today. And my friends, with my friends from the Kuwait Textile Arts Association, do we have anyone from KTA today? No? Oh, you are? Hi. Okay. So, with my friends from the Kuwait Textile Arts Association, I had the privilege of helping organize one of the finest exhibitions and first exhibitions on Bhutanese textiles, Excellency, in Kuwait. An experience that showed me once again that how culture quietly builds bridges across borders. So to all of you, thank you so much, and for your encouragement, friendship, and support over the years. I thank my publisher, Ashish Gusain, who kept pushing and prodding me till he had the final manuscript. He was here in Kuwait with his father for the release of my first book, Women of Kuwait, Turning Tides. I miss him. I also miss Anupa Dasgupta, my soul sister and the very gifted designer of this project, also from the city of my birth. I'm glad I have Anis Bakar here. Where are you, Anis? Oh. So I met Anis when he was a fresh fresh out of college. And since then, we both embarked on a journey of learning. We knew nothing about podcasting. We learned along the way, and I'm so proud of him to see how far he has come. So the ladies who welcomed you today to the event are from the Bengali Cultural Society, and they've done, as is Shatabdi here, where is she? So they've done such a fantastic job. Thank you so much. Thank you, my friend, my oldest friend in Kuwait, Etaf Hazrullah, Joji Jacobs, Sayed, who's up there, Waleed Thakur from the Dar al-Athar. I couldn't have done this without you. And I could not have continued for years without Mughal Mahal. And we have Mr. Ashok Kalra here, Mr. Kalra, and Al-Mullah Exchange. So this auditorium today, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very special. It's filled with inspiration. I planned this event in a way that would bring diplomats, intellectuals, cultural figures, and distinguished members from Kuwait and the international community together to celebrate dialogue, friendship, and cultural kinship. And I believe we have done that. I can see Sheikha Suad al-Sabah, whose love for India and Mumbai made me reach out to her for the very first episode of Sadaka. And the very private Padma Shri, Sheikha al-Sabah, who talks and thinks like an Indian yogi. Mr. Tony Jashanmal, whose family history in this region goes back to the First World War, and who left his PhD studies, if I'm not wrong, sir, to save the family business, and now they're all across the Gulf. Thank you, Mr. Jashanmal. Mr. Oberoi. Mr. Oberoi, where are you? He's there. Mr. Oberoi, who started from a small store and built Kitco, Kuwait's oldest locally made food manufacturing business. Such absolutely amazing pioneers. Look at Mr. Ravi Kohli, owner of Dawat, whose grandfather co-founded the first Indian school, and Mr. Kuldeep Singh Lamba, who built Al Melam, one of Kuwait's largest automotive companies from scratch. Katie Matthew, you have the whole Matthew family there, who built one of the largest healthcare companies who are also involved in medical technology in the Middle East. Thank you so much, Mr. Matthew. I'm so happy that you could make it. I did not expect you to be here, so this makes it even more special for me. Mr. Ahmed Al-Sarraf, who never shies away from telling the truth, and I'm really scared of him. And is one of Kuwait's leading op-ed writers. And Mubarak Rashid, is my friend Mubarak here, the singer, the Kishore Kumar of Kuwait. I think I gave him that title way back in 15 years back when I did an article on him for Arab Times. So inspiration, I believe, is contagious, and Kuwait is filled with inspiration. Thuraya al-Baksami, one of Kuwait's pioneering artists. And I can see Dr. Samira Lomar. I was not expecting her. I mean, I just can't tell you how pleased I was to see her from Kisar. Thank you, Dr. Samira, for being here. And then we have Anood al-Sharik, Dr. Anood al-Sharik, Chatham House Fellow, my friend. I'm proud to call her my friend, and she's done amazing work on women's rights here in Kuwait. Thank you for being here. Balsam Al-Ayub, I can see you there, Balsam. Incredible work, champion athlete and entrepreneur. Such amazing women, and they were all in my first book, Women of Kuwait Turning Tides. Thank you for your inspiration. And thank you for your consistency. I believe that is very important, consistency. There are so many of you here, and time is limited, but thank you for your efforts, for your inspiration, and I believe for not giving up. That's very important. Many of my friends here work in media, culture, arts, and creative industries. One of the most significant challenges facing creative professionals is the perception that their work is somehow less serious or less valuable than more traditional professions like being a doctor or an engineer. So creative work is often seen as a labor of love, but culture is important, and it gives us identity, belonging, meaning, and memory. In an increasingly divided world, culture remains one of the strongest bridges between people. When I first arrived in Kuwait, I was terribly homesick. I never imagined I would one day call another country home. But within my weeks of joining Kuwait Radio, I was invited by my then colleague, Amani Al-Munayas. Are you here, Amani? Amani Al-Munayas, there she is, my very first Kuwaiti friend who invited me to dinner with her family. And sitting around a table laden, you remember that, sitting around a table laden with food, surrounded by warmth, conversation, and hospitality, I suddenly felt something familiar. I felt at home. Amani, thank you so much. As I began writing features on Kuwaiti culture and heritage for the Arab Times, I saw more and more similarities between our society in food, textiles, trade, family values, and it felt deeply connected to India in ways I had never expected. And slowly I began thinking, what if these stories of these shared histories disappear? What if the memories of Indians, Kuwaitis who have lived through the formative decades of both modern nations were lost forever? And I think the seeds of Sadaka were planted in that apprehension. I would also like to take this opportunity, like my ambassador did a short while back, to highlight that Sadaka is also about unlearning stereotypes about Indians. There exists a stereotype in some spaces that Indians are primarily, well, domestic workers, drivers, nannies, and, with full respect to those professions, this stereotype erases an entire history of Indian contributions to Kuwait's development. There are Indian business families, doctors, educators. We have brilliant doctors sitting back there, administrators, pioneering professionals who built institutions, created livelihoods, and shaped modern Kuwait. I wanted this book to address that narrative. This journey, both the show and the book, began during one of the darkest periods of my life. I was trying to come to terms with the loss of my mother, the very foundation of who I am, and then came the serious illness of my only living sibling, my brother. Working on Sadaka became my way of navigating grief, of finding healing and purpose through storytelling. For people like us, this journey is lifelong. We search constantly for meaning and purpose. And I know someone who does that, Claudia Farkas Al-Rashid, someone I consider a mentor who's sitting right there. And I don't know what Kuwait would have done without her books. So we are searching constantly for purpose and perhaps even for our own little version of what they call an ikigai or a raison d'être. Did I say that right, Excellency? Raison d'être? My French is terrible. And in that search, the people who sacrifice and tolerate the most are our families. I thank my family, my husband, Ronnie, who's there, and my son and daughter for their tolerance and for supporting me through this very unpredictable and chaotic journey. Sadaka is my humble attempt to preserve stories of friendship, coexistence, and cultural kinship for future generation. As my ambassador said, relations are not only built through diplomacy and trade, they're built through people. And if this work contributes, even in a very, very, very small way, to strengthening understanding between my two homes, the two countries that I consider my two homes, then I will feel that my journey has been worthwhile. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.